Fingers crossed. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wake and Bake episode 76. I wasn't sure it was going to work, just made it down. I've had a pretty busy morning here, but I never forget about my Wake and Bake crew. Welcome, Peter S. So I figured I'd get out on the boat. The water is like glass right now, and I thought we would just have a beautiful little afternoon Wake and Bake, if you will. Now, I got my little mothership here. I did forget the water, which is kind of funny when you're sitting on a body of water and you have no water. Even kind of funnier when you're sitting on a body of ocean water and you have no water and you're thirsty. That's not the case for me, but today we will be hitting the piece dry, as I totally spaced bringing any water. And let's see what else I spaced bringing. There's always a few other things that I space. Hey, what's going on, Can of Stone? Everybody. Oh yeah. All right, get the dabbies. Should be good here, should be good. Yeah, salt water, don't want to be putting that in the, well, Brett, it's actually showing up pretty good for me. I'm not on the internet, I'm using my phone, and I'm not using Wi-Fi at all. I'm using my carrier service, and I have 4 bars. So you might want to come back and watch it pre-recorded, and it should come in really nice then. My connection is showing pretty solid right now, so I say it's time to awake and bake. All right, love the boat vids. Yeah, the boat vids are sweet. I mean, it is just fucking heavenly out here right now, if you can kind of catch a glimpse. Really beautiful mountains across the way. We got the Sunshine Coast, Gambier, Anvil Island over to the right with the whole top blown off. Of course, that's a dormant volcano that blew many years ago. And over in that direction, we have Horseshoe Bay. We got the Sunshine Coast. We got Vancouver Island, West Vancouver, and my own little village of Lions Bay. The lions are cool because you can always see, that's the lions right up there in the snow. You see those 2 little peaks? Yeah, gently rocking in the boat, you know. We're just rocking it good out on the water. Thought you were in a hot air balloon. Oh, fuck, I gotta do it. I gotta do a hot air balloon now. That's just so cool. The Lions of Judah, indeed. What is the water temp? Oh, I would say cold. Maybe 60 degrees. You know, not enough, not warm enough. Yet, we go in it. We go in it. It happens all day long. We get out there on the wake skate, on the wakeboard, on the wake surf, on the skis, the knee boards, the tube. It's all happening. In the meantime, I think it's time to get this bowl out and have a little dab. What say you? You can use the torch for the balloon to heat your banger. Dude, that's fucking awesome. I agree. I think we're gonna have to get that happening. Much love, Bud Rich. Much love, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day today. We're just gonna do a nice little calm wake and bake after I clean my dabber. I'll tell you, here's a pet peeve of mine. The dabber never gets cleaned properly. Nobody cleans off the dabber when they take their rip. And so at the end of the session, once I've already dolloped out, a dozen or so rips, I find that my dabber needs to get put away and brought somewhere, and then generally I put it somewhere stupid, get fibers all over it, and have to do the old clean with your fingers mentality, which is fine until you get transfer, until I start sticking my hands everywhere, and then the whole boat's full of resin, which is clean before and after. Yeah, me too, tough puffin', but I don't when I'm puffing with like 5 or 6 other people. And then I feel like, why the fuck should I be taking care of all these motherfuckers? Well, now I know, because I get the sticky fingers. First world problems, not gonna complain too hard about it. In fact, I'm not really gonna complain at all. It's just mostly conversation. Don't get it on your elbows, whatever you do. Agreed, dude, agreed, Octo. All right, so we're gonna have a little dabby doodles here. A couple of different kinds on the little of that Lemon Larry OG. Let's see if we can get it off the parchment. It's not actually parchment, it's PTFE oil slick. All right, so we'll get that down there. Anandamide, hope you're doing well today. Oh, we gotta do a terp dip. We gotta do a terp dip. I mean, we can do a terp dip, can't we? I am going in for some Star Dog. Star Dog, right there. Little Star Dog terps. Fuck yeah. Ordered some Press Heady bags. There you go, Octo Tom. I like that play on the words. Press Headies. We should name them that. It's a really good name. All right, so we'll start this wake and bake properly. I'll probably give something away on this wake and bake, but you know what? I think, have you burnt your forearm on your nail? Oh, I've burnt my forearm on my nail. Yeah, it happened. I'm not gonna lie, it happened. Still got the mark right here. You know, leaning over the nail. Psst. That was quite a while ago, but it does happen. Do you go fishing? I'm not a huge fisherman, but I have friends who are big into fishing, and I enjoy going with them and enjoying their sort of experience. I'm not as stoked on pulling a fish out of the water as they are, but I love going with them. I love the excitement, and I keep the bowls flowing, let's just say. Oh, Brooklyn Hillier, sorry to hear you're on an IV in the hospital, bro. This one is for you, bro. This one is for you. In fact, not only is this one for you, we're not going to have a contest today. We're going to be sending the bottle of DC glass cleaner to Brooklyn for his harsh day in the hospital. I'm sending you a gift. Send me your address and I will send that out to you, brother. And I hope you're doing well, man. I hope it's nothing too serious. I do. Yeah, man. We got to take care of one another, guys. This is our community. This is our community. All right, here we go, everybody. It's time to wake the bake. Yeah. Oh, that tasted so amazing. There's really something to be said for dry terp dip rips. The water definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, is altering the effects of the terps. Woohoo! I've mixed a little. I've played around, trust me, I've played around. How about this? Got an invite recently to go to High Integrity Glass Art, and he's got the Team Japan guys in the house, absolutely fucking crushing it. Pretty excited about that. Those guys are talent beyond talent, and so we're gonna make a video. It's gonna be the first Bubble Man video in a long time. Damn, a hemorrhoid lance. That's probably no fun, hey? Jesus Christ. Talk about the most uncomfortable position ever to get onto the table and to just fucking bend over and put your ass right in that dude's face. I'm sorry that you had to have that done, but I bet you it's probably better to have it done than to not have it done. Yeesh, hemorrhoids. Talk about a pain in the ass. No pun intended. No pun intended there, boy. All right, I feel irie, like really irie. Oh, dude, the Japanese glass blowers is going to be a really good video. Nothing but the best coming from High Integrity Glass Art. I will ask them, John. I will absolutely ask them. I wish I could sit here, but the sun is so bright. Well, I guess I could do this. Woohoo! Oh, yeah, no, we can't be scooping the salt water. That's not gonna happen. Yeah, pretty good reception, pretty beautiful water. No interruptions this time. We're blessed, you guys. Let's oh, what should we talk about on this beautiful wake and bake? Why is it that first bake of the day, I mean, I could wait 8 hours after I do my first bake of the day, the amount of time that I sleep, and I won't feel the same way. There really is something about sleeping and waking up and enjoying cannabinoids for the first time. I'm sure there's a science behind it that explains, you know, there's something a little bit different going on after a good sleep. Did the Japanese bluer do the dots triple things in their glass? They sure do. No, Shanzo, let's not. Let's absolutely not talk about that. Let's talk about anything but that. I want to stay away from... Yeah, Johnny B needs to... I know, dude, Mike, I know. We really need to... That, guys? Sorry about that, guys. I got a phone call there, but I put... he might call back, so I'll have to do it again. But yeah, Johnny B and Puff Wednesdays, dude, trust me. We were together the other day for the first time in a long time. We had a nice little chill session, and we both agreed how much we miss hanging out and enjoying ourselves on Puff Wednesdays. So we're definitely going to try and get together. I don't know if it'll be a Puff Wednesday or if I'll have him by for a wake and bake, but... I miss Johnny B for sure. It was so good to see him the other day. He came by my house and picked up a trailer. He's a really busy guy now. It's good to see him blowing up in his life and doing so good with his business, and his grow's back on. And I mean, what can you say about Johnny B? He's literally an all-around awesome guy. He's the people's man. How about a like, anyone? Everyone, some like. You want a like? I'll give you a like. There you go. I like it. You try any of his crop? I smoked a little bit of his crop. Yeah, he brought some Medi Kush. Medi Kush? Medi 1? Medi Kush. Jeez, I can't believe I forgot the name of that. Yeah, he brought some of the rosin that he made. I'm not gonna lie, I miss the days where Johnny B had hash. Johnny B doesn't have hash too much these days. He's got rosin, which is really the case for everyone, which isn't the worst case in the world, but it's definitely like when the hash dries up and you start seeing less and less of it, it's generally telling me that the material is less good, it's less quality, and therefore they're all pressing it into rosin. Because let's be honest, if you get a 5 or a 6 star, you're not going to be you're not going to be doing it. You're not going to be pressing that. I don't, oh, what camera lens do I use? I use a 5D, Mark III. Let's say, Canon, and I use the MPE. Nice, Brett. Yeah, I get that from a lot of people. I'm going to go on the GrowTube roundtable sometime, Jack Lee. We're trying to get it happening. I sent off an email to Dago, and we'll make it happen. And Subcool's sent links before. I don't think much about HTFSE myself. I do know some people that just don't like hash and would take rosin over 6. Yeah, John, you know what? Or Dan, you know what? I call bullshit. I say if those people actually had 6-star resin, like constantly, along with their oil, they would it's just, I've met very few people who choose that oil over hash when the hash is top quality. Most people don't have access to top quality hash. The type of hash that you see selling for $100 to $200 a gram, 6-star, that leaves nothing behind. It basically is oil. They say that because it's all they have. Exactly. Yeah, it's easy to say that when you don't have 6-star. You know, but having a bunch of 6-star and just seeing it sit there and go, yeah, I don't even puff that shit, I just hit the oil, it's like, no. What's the price of 6-star out here? If you can find it, it could be up to $100 a gram. Easy. Yeah, lots of people have been scared by mids for sure. A lot of people, when they think hash, they just don't. Here's the bottom line. There's something in the hash that's not in the oil. The oil is pulling a specific fraction, depending on the polarity of it, and it's leaving behind certain things. And when you keep those certain things, in particular that fibrous mat that all of the cannabinoids and terpenes are birthed into existence via, there's something to be had in there. There's something that is more. I feel like it's a full course meal compared to a dessert when I hit rosins. Even when the rosin's made from hash. Now, of course, that's just my opinion, but, you know, as I get deeper into these conversations with people with different opinions, it's often the first thing I'll ask is, do you have access to 6-star hash, and is it always in your stash? And the answer is pretty much 99% of the time, no. No, I do not. No, I do not. Now, they might think they smoked full melt, but it might have been faux melt, F-A-U-X, because a lot of people have the faux melt. And so if you have the faux melt and you're hitting that, you're not going to be impressed. You're seriously going to be like, you know what? My oil is way better than that. And I would agree with you. But if you're hitting 6-star, Oh my God. Okay, here's the thing. If you're hitting 6-star and you love oil, then here's something that you should do. Take the 6-star and make your oil with it, because if you make oil with a full whole plant, you're pulling a lot of bulbous heads, and I can promise you those are the heads that if I could extract them and isolate them mechanically and separate them, you would see that they are not the heads you want to smoke. They make up a wonderful chunk of yield, and that's why oil goes from hash going from 10 to 12 to 15% tops on returns. You see oil getting into the 20s. That's because of those bulbous heads. Those heads have a profile. They're just not, from my perspective, a connoisseur smoke. So if I was a big oil head, I would still, you know, separate all my gland heads via dry sifting or wet wash, make hash, and then make your oil with those specific heads. Whether you mix them, whether you make them all separate and have your 90 micron oil and your 73 micron oil is up to you. But it definitely gives you a different overview of just removing those bulbous heads. I don't want to call them contaminants because they have medicinal components to them that are very important. I have a theory that they are the ones that produce more of the CBD in CBD, high CBD ratio cultivars. And the reason that is because of when we make water hash or dry sift with Haley's Comet or any of the high CBD cultivars, the yields are very, very, very poor. And generally, most of those people already know that oil is the best way to go about, whether it's a rosin process or a chemical extraction. You're going to need that melting factor to pull those bulbous heads off and to acquire that profile. Yeah, Nick, 73 for the win. I'll tell you, what a beautiful buzz out here on the House Sound. Really always enjoy hanging out with you guys and chilling with you. I can give you some knowledge on curing hash. Sure, you know, curing is an opinion. It's not a fact. So the way you cure, and we're not talking about drying, okay? Peace, Brooklyn Hillier. Please send me the email, bcbubbleman@icloud.com today, right away, and I will absolutely send you that. I hope you're feeling better, buddy. Okay, so drying and curing. Drying is very different from curing. We want to get the moisture content out of the gland wax membrane. We want to make sure all the water that's on the outside of that gland membrane is also dried off. So it's sort of a two-part process. First, getting the water on the outside of the gland heads removed, and then getting the moisture content inside the wax membrane properly removed. Once those are done, you can now actually cure your hash. And people always ask me, what's the best way to cure your hash? Well, that's like asking me what's the best time to cut your plants down and preserve the cannabinoid and terpene profile as they are. That's going to also be an opinion. So, you know, I tell people try a variety of things with your plants. Cut them down a couple weeks early, a week early, right on time, a week later, a couple of weeks later. Find your sweet spot, find the differences, find the changes that are occurring in the cannabinoid and terpene profile in those specific times. Keep the data, it's valuable. And then moving on to how do you cure the resin? Well, it's the same thing. You can cure it. Okay, if you're putting it in a fridge or a freezer, that's more preserving it. And although moisture can be removed that way and it can affect terpene profiles, I don't really call it a cure. I call it more of a preservation. Like, I like this the way it is and I want it to stay that way. I don't want it to change. I don't want it to butter up. I want everything to stay the same. Boom, into the fridge or the freezer. That's preserving. Curing, on the other hand, is something that you can do in different environments. So dark environments, cold environments, different textures and like substances to cover the hash in. Some people put it away in glass. Some people put it away in like a humidor type thing on screen. Some people, there's such a variety of ways to put hash. You're going to have to find the best way for you. Well, the freeze dryer is something a little different, right? You'll notice that if you dry your hash naturally using a desiccant, like the pizza box cardboard technique that I've shown, that the hash will cure differently than if you suck with a vacuum the moisture content out of the wax membrane. So you can do that as well, but you'll notice differences. And those differences are so subtle and so small that I couldn't really explain to you exactly what they are, particularly because you might be using different cultivars in different environments, etc., etc. But I will say that the freeze dryer, I told Tony when we got the freeze dryers that I would still want to have hash that is done the old school way. So we have, because they're sort of like different products. anytime you mess with the terpene content of the plant, you're going to be affecting the modulation and therefore the effects of that plant. And so yeah, it's curing is a tricky one. I have that 10-year-old hash. I have it in wood, I have it in glass, I have it out in the open, I have some in the fridge, I have some in a colder environment, and I have some at room temperature. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways. Who you trying to be? I don't know who I'm trying to be, man. I think just me. You know. It's the only person I know how to be, really. I prefer it too. It's like psychedelic experience being me, which I'm sure it's like that to be you as well. How long Bubbleman product being cured? Well, it really depends, Angel. You know, the cure, in my opinion, more importantly, happens along the line of properly, you know, desiccant, a little colder than room temperature. Once you get into the science of extracting and with laboratory grade freeze dryers, then you're getting into a perspective that sure, you can cure the hash as long as you want, but the effects aren't really going to be, you know, what I notice with the majority of hash that hits the marketplace, especially in places like California, just sounded like a stone. What was that? Stone Mr. Rogers. Right on. Ah, fuck, I like that. Sorry, I've got a small little... When I turn my phone sideways, I only get a couple of lines of text, so I really have to read everything you guys are saying. And trust me, I'm reading it all while I'm talking to you. Yeah, what's the longest you've cured hash? 10 years. 10 years is my oldest hash right now. And, yeah. Can you talk about the new terpene syrup? I can tell you this much, okay? It is really, really interesting. I've never had such an experience. I mean, it's really... Tony's... I gotta give my hats off to the guy because he's changing the game, you know? The idea... First of all, how high I got off of it was incredible. And I dabbed like 20 or 30 minutes earlier, so I wasn't expecting to feel anything, even though I'm well aware of the modulating effects of terpenes. I always kind of understood that they would happen together simultaneously, instantaneously. And when he said, put a mil of the syrup in the water, I put it in, I watched it dissipate. I'll show you guys, I'll make a video. I watched it dissipate into these long strands that kind of vibrated and just dispersed into this cloud and then disappeared. I also put in some of the xylitol, which is like his terp sugar. It's not sugar, it's xylitol, it's a sweetener. And it's pretty sweet, like it's nice, and it's Jack Frost that he sent me and some OG18. So I put in the Jack Frost, I put a little of the syrup in, I drank half this glass of water. It was really tasty, you know, light, but like to a connoisseur, especially someone say that had that cultivar that just took a dab of it, then to be given that water, I could really see it being used as a pairing in a dab bar. I could really see it transferring over the whole differences of the vibes of hanging out and getting super high versus people hanging out and drinking alcohol socially. I love the idea of creating a more social aspect of cannabis use with large amounts of people. I notice when I go to certain events like Cannabis Cups, people are smoking concentrates and they don't have the same ability to articulate and stay awake, and they're zombied out. They're just like kind of like this, and there's a lot of them. And I love the idea of getting together with people and smoking a lot and medicating, but not to fall asleep. I love the idea of microdoses of dabs with the terpenes in conjunction with the terpene water. It's a really spacey, almost psychedelic headspace that you get into, and it keeps you awake, and it doesn't burn you out, and it doesn't make you want to go to sleep. And I'm telling you, not that I'm against lounges where people just go and get annihilated and fall asleep. I'm not saying get rid of those, okay? I'm not fighting against anything that already exists. I'm fighting for more. So I just see the day where we could get into more of that social aspect and really help at the same time people move away slowly from alcohol use, because I know when people use cannabis, even in micro amounts, they tend to drink less. It'd be cool to have in bars at great concerts, you know, where you could go and get a pairing terpene water, a little vapor hit. Who have hash in the dispensaries around, don't offer it to my knowledge. Yeah, it's a tough one. Dude, that's awesome. Sounds so nice. Can't wait to see that being put out in bulk. Funny, I've never noticed anything like that. Not into sleeping lounges. I prefer energy-filled terp cafes. That's what I'm saying, Peter. I'm not into sleeping lounges either. I don't get tired. It doesn't make me want to go to sleep, so I get really excited. And no, Nick Lutz, I don't smoke chemical extracted resins. So people using butane and propane and hexane. It's pretty standard. Most people know that I don't use those products at all. My whole thing is I am promoting solventless methods of extraction, chemical solvents, ones that come from petrochemical factories, not the chemical solvents that are naturally occurring in cannabis. No, don't be sorry, bro. Don't be sorry. It gets tricky when we talk about it, and I hear Tony be like, "Oh, we're doing solventless." It's like, well, terpenes are solvents. They are hydrocarbons, so that's not solventless. It's not solvent-free. It's like there's solvents in all of our cannabis extracts. What I'm trying to say is, I'm not talking about the beautiful hydrocarbon solvents that cannabis produces. I'm talking about the petrochemical extracts that multinational conglomerate corporations are sucking out of the earth and poisoning the world with. So that's really what I'm trying. Maybe we just say poisons. That's a good way to say it, Shanzo. Poison free. It might be a little harsh, but it's the truth. We don't want to, Tony and I are coming from a perspective where we're trying to be the most conscious. And because of it, I can promise you this, the higher the integrity is, the lower the profits will be. That's why we're trying to come in at a low dollar. We're trying to wholesale these products out for not insane dollars, so they end up as $200 grams. We want to keep them under $100. And these motherfuckers are doubling their money. So if you can come in between $30 and $45 a gram for really beautiful product, and hey, I'd love to see it get cheaper. Love to see it get cheaper. If we could grow it cheaper, if we could grow acres of this shit, we could. I do not smoke weed, Vu Li. Not for 15 years, but I do have an appreciation for it because all of the hashish comes from the weed. And of course the fibers and the cellulose and the essential amino acid rich seed embryos. Everything about it is wonderful. I wear it, I eat it, I smoke it, I put it on my skin. And yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah, well, I hope so too, Nick Lutz. I do hope so too. We've got a bunch of cool things on the horizon. I haven't been talking about too much. I don't like to get into the full-blown shameless plugging of brands, but you guys can go check out Bubbleman brand on Instagram, and that's the best way to keep updated. Hey, what's going on, Indra? Yeah, dude, right? We're on the boat, man. We are on the boat. It's a good day on the boat. What about rosin prices? Yeah, what about rosin prices? A lot of work can go into rosin prices. That's why it depends on if you're first making hash and then squishing the hash and turning it into rosin. I get seasick too. Oh man, here, let me rock the boat a little bit. Now that it's rocking, first we'll get it rocking. It's got a Absolutely. We've had a pod of orcas just literally right here, jumping out of the water. Oh, did I mute the mic? I don't think I pressed the mute. Oh, weird. Where the hell was my mic man, these phones trip me out. Sorry, guys. Yes, there was a pod of killer whales here last year. There's been many dolphins, humpback whales, blue whales. It's pretty cool, actually, the amount of wildlife that comes in here. Yeah, it must have been the edge of my hand, but I try very hard not to touch the bottom or the top of the phone. These phones look so similar, I can't tell which one's which when I'm on these shows. There's the lions. There they are. Look, they're in my hand. I'm holding that mountain. It is so calm, Indra. What is your expected return when sifting good material? Well, sift is only a particular type of heads, only a particular size of heads. So it's not like you're getting everything. Sift isn't about getting everything. The magic about sift is getting specific heads. Trying to get it all is awesome at the end if you want to make medicine, but I always tell people first, let's get out the best, the ones that will blow your mind. And that's what Sam was doing when I first met him. Of course, he had bred his cultivars from seeds he had collected from hash producing countries around the world, bred those seeds, grew those seeds, processed that resin. It was perfection on all accounts. Oh yes, happy 4th of July to all my American friends. Happy 4th of July. That's awesome. So it's all about really pulling out. Sam would brag about getting 1%. So I was always like, yeesh, 1%, that's not enough. So sift, in my opinion, is something that you do, and then afterwards you're going to want to take the material and do something else with, because you are not getting everything. How did Sam be able to become legally to do all the work he did? Well, FSS, you know what? When he got into trouble in Santa Cruz, he left California knowing that he was just going to continue to get in trouble because he wasn't going to stop what he was doing. And he thought the best idea for him to do would be to kind of go in under a pharmaceutical company or a nutraceutical company, under that model, and apply for licensing and permits exactly how those companies do, and put CEOs in place for, you know, to shake hands and sign documents. And he basically did some great work. I mean, the guy bred some incredible cannabis. When I first went to Holland in '95 and all the herb was skunk, #1 in the coffee shops, that was all Dave's, and not grown by him or profited by him, but taken the clones from his greenhouse through workers or whatever, and you know, passed on to everyone. And Vu Lee, you're kind of a character. Yeah, skunk. What am I talking about? I'm talking about skunk. You need to, you're deep here, Vu. You're deep, okay? You are deep in the cannabis knowledge. So we're going deep. We're talking about Skunkman Sam. This dude is, Skunkman method is lead, don't follow. I don't even know what that means, John. That had to be crazy feeling for him. Yeah, you know, he's done some incredible work. I hope to be able to work with my mentor in the future in Jamaica. That's really been my dream, trying to get it going on. Yeah, Indra, you can catch all sorts of fish here. A lot of people from China and Vietnam, Asian countries, come along the rocks and fish for rockfish. Very popular amongst those cultures. And then everyone pretty much goes into the middle and fishes for the salmon. The salmon is going to be spawning right away. And it's 24 million, I think, came in 4 years ago. Yeah, dude, we have an amazing Asian culture here in Vancouver, and because of it, I get to enjoy many aspects of their culture. Food being probably the #1. I do love me some food, like whether it's from Thailand, whether it's from India, whether it's from China, I just really love all of those types of foods. Indian may be one of my favorites, actually. Really spicy, wicked, hot Indian food. Love that shit. Vancouver's Chinatown. Yeah, dude, we have an amazing Chinatown. We have an amazing, you know, NorCal Nugget. I'm sure we have, we do have a Filipino community for sure. I grew up in Winnipeg, and we had a huge Filipino community. I had some great times kind of gaining access to that community as a kid back in Winnipeg. Salmon is overfished that killer whales can't produce young. Well, Alex, you know, salmon spawns every year, like millions and millions of them. They're every 4 years, actually, but there's different spawns that happen. This pink spawn that's coming right now was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, it was the highest spawn of salmon since 1918. So that goes against what you're saying in the sense that it was more than we've seen in over 100 years. So I think sometimes there are cycles that we don't understand on the planet, and I get that we're doing damage and we're doing all sorts of shitty things, but I think the world has ways of balancing itself out. And when I sometimes think that if our history was allowed to go back further than this 2,000 years, I think it's a big part of the manipulation. If we had history that went back 20 or 30 or 40,000 years and we're allowed to actually know that history, we would see these larger cycles at work. For instance, people are often, you know, obviously we're bummed out when we hear about a new animal species making it onto the endangered list, and even more bummed out when they become extinct. But how about this for a thought? Probably 95+% of the life that's lived on this planet is extinct. So it's kind of trippy. It's like this evolution, right? We're just completely evolving, and, you know, the old goes to the way, just like the cycle of life. So I try to keep a positive vibe on it. I used to get really bummed out and go deep into conspiracy and the agenda and all the crazy harsh shit that was happening in the world. And then I kind of felt like maybe that was part of their agenda. Like they wanted me to get, you know, like, why am I sharing negative information when I could be sharing positive information? Why do people, when they pull out their phones, do they want to say,
oh, you got to see what Donald Trump tweeted or what Ted Cruz said. It was just so stupid. It's like, why do you want me to be bummed out and listen to something so stupid? Like, why don't you bring me a knowledge bomb? Like, why don't you say, hey, dude, listen to this. You're going to be blown away. It's Alan Watts, and he's talking about the what is the meaning of life and the fabric of the universe. That's what I want to be getting turned on to. Yeah, Shanzo, I mean, my goodness, what the hell are we thinking, guys? And we're all guilty of it on some level or another, sharing bad information with people, whether it's politics or propaganda or bunk in any way, shape, or form. It's keeping you from doing good work. It's keeping you from sharing good information. Exactly. Terence McKenna, Ralph Abraham, Rupert Sheldrake, just to name a few. Eric K. Drexler wrote a wonderful book called Engines of Creations, and recently Radical Abundance about nanotechnology. That's interesting stuff. You know, there's a lot of fun stuff out there. Science has no agenda other than truth. And more so than truth is to, uncover distruths, to uncover lies. And so, yeah, Jason Silva's great. He's got some really inspirational kind of 2-3 minute videos that you can go check out. Very much, I put him in line with sort of a Terence and Alan Watts, philosophical, deeply intelligent, and very able to articulate his information in a real positive manner. It's inspiring, actually. It's quite inspiring. I'll be at Chalice, he says. All right, Marcus, we may be at Chalice. Tony's going to try and get down there. We're not sure for sure, but we'll see what happens. Oh, 501 Cajones. I'm humbled that you say that. I don't feel that I am, but I guess those are my inspirations, so it's best if I could do them justice. And really, it's all about just sharing information. That's what we're all here doing. That's why we have all these phones. We're trying to connect. We're trying to learn. We're trying to, And I will say this right now. Oh, have I read A Behold a Pale Horse? Come on, I read that book in 1990 or maybe even 1989. Behold a Pale Horse was sort of how it all started. That and Robert Anton Wilson. I read the Illuminatus trilogy and Schrodinger's Cat, and what are the part 1 and 2, 3? Oh, Cosmic Triggers. I read all those, and then I eventually got into Terence, and I started listening to his lectures, and I started reading all his books. I read Archaic Revival and Food of the Gods and True Hallucinations, Trilogues at the Edge of the West. Pretty much all of them. Very inspired by those guys. I ordered spores from Terence from his company in Hawaii called Sigeny that he had with his wife Kat at the time. And I grew those spores, and I passed those psychedelic mushrooms out to many, 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 many people. And I felt like it was really good work. It was like fighting the demons. It was like this tool that you could take, bring into a place like Winnipeg where people are suffering from alcoholism and pharmaceutical addiction, and bring this psychedelic mushroom into my community. And with the information that we had, which was like, we're not partying, man. We're going and taking 5 dried grams in a dark room. We're blowing our ego right out the back door to remove that discomfort, which will follow you through a trip if you try to hold on to your ego. You really have to let go of your ego. If you do try Octotom, I would urge you to have very good friends with you, potentially one at least that's a watcher who's not involved in the psychedelic journey that can take care of you guys. Make sure you're in a safe environment. You don't want to be around glass or certain things that if you start flailing around or moving in a way that might not be conducive to being around those types of things, it's important to think about first. Also, it's good to look into your diet. Certain things are going to upset your stomach if you take psychedelics afterwards, and that could upset your ego. And if you don't take enough to blow your ego out, you're going to have this real intense vibe. Well, what they say about tryptamines is that our body recognizes them. So for safety aspects, certain psychedelics take 9 to 10 hours to dissolve, to be removed from the body, to be broken down so they are no longer psychedelic. Things like LSD, the body doesn't quite recognize that form of the molecule, but in tryptamine form, in the pure tryptamine form, it can be 5 minutes long. Not that should give you a feeling of safety, because truly that 5 minutes you could live 1,000 lifetimes and die 1,000 deaths. So I don't know if I would say it's safe, but it's an inward journey that each person has to take. Some some people wouldn't say that it's safe to change their entire lives, and when you go in and you have these perspective changes, a lot can change in a real quick hurry. I feel blessed to have done them as a young man and to have been able to shape myself before I became in my 40s, you know, throughout my late teens, 20s, and 30s. I was able to really get close and intimate with psychedelics, particularly mushrooms. Mushrooms along with potentiators, MAO inhibitors like harmine and harmaline that are present in Banisteriopsis in all forms. We were using the root. And of course Syrian rue, which can be purchased at Iranian or Middle Eastern grocery stores, edible ones so they don't have poisons sprayed on them. And yeah, just a little bit of Syrian rue with some psychedelic mushrooms will produce an ayahuasca-like effect where you have the tryptamine aspect from the psilocybin and the psilocin, and you have the MAO inhibitors, the harmine and the harmaline from the whatever source you're using, the Syrian rue seeds or the Banisteriopsis caapi. Oh, how's that going, Drew? Microdoses of dimethyltryptamine rips? Do we have to ban Vu Lee? I could just get rid of him. I mean, I kind of wanted to leave him because I felt like maybe he was learning, but you know what? When a respected member of the group here asks that someone be banned, I'm going to respect that. I know you guys aren't just trying to ban people for no good reasons. I think I banned him. Yeah, he was kind of like, he kind of seemed like a troll, but I've had these kind of, you know, like not really, like he might be learning. You know what I mean? A few times I would reply to him and instead of trolling back, he'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. So anyway, I think we dropped some pretty good knowledge today. I think the boat is very conducive to getting me to talk. I think we're going to be doing a lot of these boat wake and bakes. I will try to bring guests. We have a lot of seats here. It would be nice. Who would I recommend for solventless companies in Canada? I would check out in Ontario Glacial Melts. Here in Vancouver, you can check out West Coast Concentrates. I guess they're also in Ontario. East Coast Concentrates. They got a blue circular blue and white logo, and yeah, you can check those guys out. They're all good if they have it. I'm not Med THC Ontario. I am in the Howe Sound. On those are all islands around me, but I'm floating on the water, and the mainland is literally right there. I'm very close, actually. I'm so close that the people on the dock probably heard this entire wake and bake video. So thanks everyone for coming and hanging out, and I hope Brooklyn is going to send me an email so I can send him that bottle of DC glass cleaner. Well, Retro 80s, I like all people, but I don't use derogatory terms. That's negative, that's mean, it's hateful, and yeah, you are caught up in your division, and I understand the value of life is our splices, where we come from this whole and we splice off into these personal people, these ego based people, and I get that, but you're confused, bro, because you came from everyone and you're going to everyone. So you I mean, I know you're not in the room anymore because I blocked you out right away, but I just felt like I needed to say that anyway. We're all people. I'm an earthling. I don't feel like a Canadian as much as an earthling, and I feel that every time I travel anywhere. You're all my people, and I am your people. So there it is. Love wins. Joe Register said it best. Peace bless me bowl, Alikins. You will get all... What is that? I'm going to block that one too. Where did you do it, Indra? All right, here we go. Anyway, guys. Oh, cancel that. I don't want to be blocking anyone that shouldn't be blocked. Fuck, I want to take mush and go for a swim now, but I'm going to grocery store. Benny. Yeah, maybe I'll eat some mushies today. Probably not. Maybe a little bit. Maybe I'll just keep turning until someone says, please stop, Bubble Man. Please stop. Honestly, I'm going to throw up. Stop. No, seriously, stop. Dude, please. You're going to fall in the ocean, bro. Jesus Christ. This is insane. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, I'll stop. Fall, fall, fall. I deserved it. I should have fallen with my $1,200 phone in the water. Sploosh, gone. Bottom of the ocean. Not going to do it. Yes, blessed to be blessed, and inspired by all of each and every one of you every day. I really do appreciate you coming in here and sharing your words. It would just be me talking to myself if it weren't for all of you. 220 people, please, all of you, may the full melt bless your bowl sooner than later. Peace out, everybody.